this week we're back in my garden, but don't worry, I'm not stuck on lockdown. The reason is I've got a training aid that you can try at home to help improve your game. So let's go and take a look. Okay, so this is the PlaneSwing, and it kind of says it in the name, but it's designed to help you get your swing more on plane. So this might sound really simple, or you might be thinking, well, why do I need to swing on plane at all? And obviously this is really key in terms of getting back to the ball and getting that really crisp contact, because if you're off plane and kind of dragging it over the top or cutting really low up on the inside, then you're just not going to get that kind of controlled ball flight and controlled shot shape. So really what the PlaneSwing is doing here is giving you that feeling of what an on-plane swing feels like, and you use the weighted club that comes with it to really hone this feeling, so that when you go out onto the golf course you know what positions you're trying to hit. Now you might have seen these at kind of your local driving range or up at your golf club, and I definitely saw them a lot when I was growing up and kind of teaching pros using them, but I definitely didn't realise it was something that the general consumer could buy to use at home. So I think it's really interesting to point that out. You might also be interested to know that a lot of these have been used out on tour. Bryson DeChambeau has notoriously used this with his long-time coach Mike Shin. We've also seen players like Fleetwood, Darren Clark and Dustin Johnson use these. But anyway, let's take a look at how it works, how you can set it up and what the benefits are. So firstly, in terms of setup, this is definitely a two-person job. Obviously it's quite big, so just in terms of moving things around and getting it all stood up properly, it is best if there's two of you who can do that. But really it was a very simple process. It took about 30 minutes and there's really clear instructions that come with this, and there's also a lot of video footage for how you can set this up as well, which is really useful. So in terms of setup, it was really simple. Now once we've got it up, there's one final setup you need to do, and obviously every person swings it slightly different, and I'm quite sure if you're not going to have me stood with kind of someone who's 6 foot odd swinging it on the same plane, that's not going to happen. So we can use this simple cord here to just do a quick setup drill and see what kind of height we need this setup at. So the back rod has a really easy number system, so you can make this steeper or flatter and just adjust it to what's best for you. So what they say is this cord really wants to sit kind of across your sternum level. So this is set up at neutral. I'm just going to go in and show you how I think I need to tweak that for me. So we can see here, if I get set up, this is definitely higher than my sternum. Tony Clark, who is the owner of PlaneSwing, he's 6 foot and he has it set at neutral. Typically if you're shorter you need to go flatter, and if you're tall you need to go steeper. So I was anticipating I was going to have to change this. So I think I'm probably going to need this 2 flatter, so I'm just going to go ahead and tweak this at the back. Now as you can see, it's pretty simple to do this. It's literally just like a clip out tool, and then you just slide it down to the setting you want. Okay, so I've got this at 2 flat, and you can see now that's kind of nice to sit in on my sternum, so I'm quite happy that that's a good plane for me. So I'm going to take this up and get set up to do some drills. Now I think it's important to note at this point there are 2 different lengths of the sliders that you can get with this. So this is designed to replicate kind of your driver and your fairway woods. Obviously if I was using an iron I won't be swinging it this flat. So there is a shorter slider that you can also purchase, which is designed to be more kind of your 6 iron down, so your iron swing. That is very different to you swing with a wood. Obviously with a wood you're trying to sweep it and hit up on the ball, where there's an iron you kind of try and compress it and hit down on the ball more. So you are actually swinging them on different planes. So the first thing we want to do when we're using the PlaneSwing is to build a really stable setup. And you can see on the mat here we've got these alignment marks, so that's just letting you get a really square stance. Now if you want, you can actually leave the cord in here, and that can just help you to check if your shoulders are kind of square to your stance as well. A lot of golfers can get kind of one way or the other, and I don't think people realise how much your setup affects the overall golf swing. So getting a really square, stable base is really key, so using these alignment markers and just getting into a good setup position. And from here we really want to start slow, so the whole point of this is that it's weighted, so you're building resistance, so your muscles are kind of learning these new movements. So it's really not about swinging as fast as you can on here, it's really kind of about learning the movement patterns. So there's 3 key things we're kind of working on here. Obviously you've got kind of the wrist cock, then you've got kind of forearm rotation, and you've also got that shoulder rotation. I think one thing to know is that you're not doing any of these separately, they're all kind of working in sync, and that's where you do actually have to use your core quite well to connect all these motions up. I think a really great thing about this training aid is kind of the visual of this circle, and it just gives you a really clear picture of where you should be swinging it. I think a lot of golfers just don't really know where the club should be in certain positions of the swing, so you are really getting a clear idea of that. So obviously this is a weighted club, so it's not kind of directly related to the golf club that you're hitting. It's a lot heavier, and you might wonder, well, why is that? And the key thing is kind of building up that resistance, so you're getting that muscle memory. But another thing that I really like is it really makes you feel kind of the weight of what would be the club head in effect. So a lot of golfers, and this is something I struggle with, they don't keep the club head behind the hands. Now this is key in terms of getting that lag, getting that good strike on the ball, and really getting that compression. So what I really like about this is just the feeling of the club head staying behind the hands, and you can get it into that good position and then just hit through the ball. So I've just flipped this round so we can have a look down the line, and I think kind of the plane of the swing does come across better this way, and also you can see how big swing tendencies can kind of be ironed out with this. So typically at club level I would say the biggest shot people struggle with is a slice, and typically that comes from people just coming over the top of the swing. So again up here, and everything's going this way. Now obviously you can see if you're on here, as soon as that club's trying to go that way you can feel it. So really getting that feeling of the club sitting behind the hands and staying on that plane and pulling it through is really important for a lot of golfers. And just being able to come out into your garden or your garage and be able to do this for kind of 10 minutes a day, get that feeling, is going to be really important to improving your golf. Now I think a fantastic part of the package of buying one of these is that you get unlimited PGA Tour Pro help on your swings. So you can email, WhatsApp, send in swing videos, and they'll give you feedback, not only if when you're using the PlaneSwing, but if say you're at the range, and give you drills to help you use on this to improve your swing. Now I think that's really invaluable in terms of if you think how much money you can spend on golf lessons. So not only are you getting this training aid at home, but you're also getting that kind of constant feedback, which is really important so you can keep improving your game. Now if you're a Bryson fan like I am, you might be interested to know kind of how he used this device, or maybe how it shapes some of his strong golfing philosophies that we know he has. Now interestingly, his kind of high hands at setup did come from using this and looking at, well, I want my impact position and my setup position to be the same so it's easier to get back to that position. And he found that his hands were a lot higher at impact when they were at setup, so that's when him and his coach tweaked that. And also another really interesting thing is the fact that he realised if every single iron is a different length, the plane for that is different. So therefore he's going to have to swing it on a different plane with each club, which is obviously more difficult to do. So that's why he decided to use that 7-iron length shaft in all his irons, so he can keep it on the same plane and just make it more repeatable throughout the back. Now obviously he doesn't have a 7-iron shaft in his driver. As I said before, you swing on a different plane with your woods compared to your irons, and I'm not sure he'd be getting quite the long distances with a 7-iron shaft in his driver. Anyway, another thing Bryson liked to do was to actually mirror using the club over the top of this. So although PlaneSwing say not to hit shots with this, obviously you can imagine if you were hitting full speed shots on this you could cause a bit of damage. What Bryce Snatch liked to do was just mirror the club slightly outside, so he would work with this, checking the plane and seeing if he could keep the gap kind of the same all the way around. I think that's probably a really good way to advance from using that, which is kind of training your muscles, giving you the feelings of the right positions, to then using a club and seeing if you can kind of repeat it with this different kind of lighter weight in the club. So one of the things I find fascinating about this is kind of the endless different ways you can use this. So I've just gone ahead and tweaked the settings. I've put this 3 settings more upright, and then what I can actually do is just go ahead and practice like my short chipping or pitching. Now, having a training aid that you can literally use for all aspects of your game is like invaluable really, and being able to just kind of set something up in your garden, do a bit of chipping, check the plane, know it's right, then go back, do some driver swings, maybe some mid-irons. What else on the market can you really use to do that? Okay, final setup of the day. I've got this set up on the steepest possible setting you can get, and genuinely this blew my mind when I found out you could practice your putting on this. I mean, I should have thought about it really, but the bottom is really just giving you kind of that real putting arc that you want. So you can definitely just set up and practice your short putting in here. This is a great way to really hone in that arc and really work on that short range putts. Then if you're somewhere like this where you've got AstroTurf down or any surface that you can put on, you can actually practice holing out those short range putts. really like this because it's just getting you to work on rocking your shoulders and kind of moving everything as a whole unit rather than getting really handsy, which some golfers can. As a side note, I would mention I have put some tape just down the back of my club to make sure it doesn't get scratched on here. Okay, so final thoughts. There are a few things that I really love about this product, and probably the biggest is just like the great visual it gives you and the great feeling you get of what your swing should feel like. And that sounds silly, but for a lot of golfers, they may not even realise the positions that kind of the hands, the shoulders, the body should be in at different parts of the swing. So I think the biggest takeaway is giving you that awareness of what you should actually be doing. Another thing is just the wide variety of things you can do with this. You can train all parts of your game, and I think that's great if you're investing in something like this that's going to help you across the board rather than just one area. Now, although it might look quite big, this actually just folds down really easily and it's on wheels, so you can roll it away for storage. So if you are worried about space, that is a really key consideration, and it means if someone doesn't want it in the garden, like my dad, then you can roll it away and put it in the garage or a hut or wherever you want to keep it. So I think the big clincher with this will be price point for everyone, and there's a wide variety of packages, and the first one starts at $599. Now that might seem like a lot of money, but obviously this is something that's not really going to wear over time, so it's going to be lasting you a long time. And also if you compare it to kind of other equipment on the market, you're not looking at that much less for a new driver. Now, which is going to give more benefit to your game? I think something long term that's going to help with kind of your mechanics is definitely going to help you see more of an improvement than maybe that new club is. Also, you need to remember all that support package you get with it, so the instruction, people looking at your swing and helping you out, which I think is really invaluable for that price point. And if you think of how much you will spend on lessons in that time frame, you really are going to save some money. For me personally, I do struggle with kind of throwing my hands from the top a bit and also not keeping the club head behind my hands enough. So I'm really interested to use this over the coming weeks and months and see how my swing improves from that. So keep your eye out for more updates on that type of golf with them. Right, that's all for today. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and head over to the NCG social media channels for more golf content coming soon.